#1 movie review show on YouTube, Planet X Filmworks. Tune in at youtube.com/planetxfilm. Click the join button below for a membership. I know it's late in the chat, so sorry about the technical difficulties, guys. Shout out to everybody who came through. It's obviously Toxic Avenger Day for Pixie. You're welcome. You say I don't like you, but yet we picked the next two reviews out of your list, Toxic Avenger, and next week, Red Dawn. I don't know if you work on Saturdays, Pixie, but if you want to catch the show live and it's one of your picks like Red Dawn next week, you could always just have us move it to Sunday unless you work both days and it's the same for you. Pixie actually has the power to do that because she's a member. You can rewind to the part where I was just saying, click the join button for a membership below. Shout out to Slipknot fan. You haven't seen Toxic Avenger? Well, you are missing out. Toxic Crusaders, though, is so good. We're going to be talking about Toxic Crusaders. So we got...
It's in more than I, that's for sure.
We got Toxie here. We got No Zone. And then I got the two-headed guy up here. So we got most of the squad. Should you guys wish... Gaz and I was thinking maybe a couple of things, Gaz. We could show them the video game trailer. We could do like a little watch party at the end if they don't know about it, and we could also react to the remake trailer just because it seems like it's not coming out now. So that could be our little nod to the canceled movie. So those are things we could do at the end of the show.
Get everyone pumped, then disappoint them.
Yeah, I know. Hey guys, look at how fire this teaser they made was. By the way, this one's not coming out. That's typical Paradigm. Yeah, that's typical Paradigm review show. We promote movies that will never be released here. That's quite fitting. Just catching up on that. So. Yeah, really not too much channel news. Red Dawn next week. The schedule is posted in the community tab, which is Toxic Avenger today, Red Dawn next week, Gladiator 1 for the 23rd. We're going to have Mosh Shinobi report back to us how Wackiator Poo is. If he survives his screening, that remains to be seen. And then special Thanksgiving Day, Western Epic. Gaz and I finally make our foray into the Western genre, which is Horizon Chapter 1, Part 1 or whatever. Kevin Costner, recent legend who has left the cast of Yellowstone, which in my opinion, erase my chair back up here, in my opinion, probably ruined the show of Yellowstone, which was epic, but kind of hard to keep that same momentum going when like your actual, lead who kind of, like directs the entire character arc, directs the entire show. Yes, Junkyard Dog's fire. He's in the video game, by the way. He's a little bit tough to use right now, but they need to patch him. Love Junkyard Dog. So, without further ado, and then finally, I have my Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity review up on Patreon. Futuristic '80s grindhouse version of the Most Dangerous Game and other adaptation. The problem is it's one of those weird like sexploitation ones of like just men trying to force themselves on naked women, which apparently was a big genre in the 70s to the 80s because like 3 or 4 of the Most Dangerous Game adaptations are just about like hunting and kidnapping women. So don't know why people found that so entertaining back then.
I've got to say, I was saying to Pixie whilst you were resolving some tech issues, and I said this to you during the week. I'm proud of you recently, man. All those years of me sending you the worst crap that's ever been made, and I find out that you've actually got some platinum turds yourself. There's like a secret shelf locked away with some of these so bad it's good, including this one we're about to review. So there's hope. Welcome to the crud side. I'm going to get that platinum turd, another one sent to you, signed and delivered, man.
I'm a grindhouse guy, so Gaz was keeping up with when I was watching all the Hellraiser sequels, including those late Sci-Fi Channel sequels, the Pumpkinhead sequels, including the late Sci-Fi Channel sequels. I'm a Toxic Avenger guy. I mean, I'm a grindhouse guy, so it doesn't really get any more grindhouse than Toxic Avenger and Troma. A couple full disclosures is I actually didn't really know about Toxic Avenger for a long time. Like when I grew up, obviously you guys see my Toxie figure, and the Toxic Crusaders was a cartoon I watched. I think that's kind of what Slipknot was saying. A lot of us who grew up in the mid 90s, I mean, I was born a year after Toxic Avenger 1. So I grew up on Toxic Crusaders, like much later on, did I find out like as a late teenager that like it was all based on Toxic Avenger, Troma. Like Gaz just said, Troma makes these, you know, out of control, violent grindhouse vigilante movies, gore house movies that are pretty insane, which is ultimately what Lloyd Kaufman gets known for. But reading about his history, so Lloyd Kaufman went to Yale. Did you know that, guys?
I didn't know. I really didn't. Wow.
So this review is going to take some interesting turns that I think people are not going to expect. I mean, Yale must look back at that guy like, how did this guy?
Where did we go wrong?
Obviously, the main evil genius that's a Yale graduate. Like, they look back on that like, man, Yale is 100% responsible for Troma. Yeah. So thank you, Yale. Shout out to Lloyd Kaufman, obviously a genius. Yeah. So what I was reading about his background was he actually worked, I think his first 3 or 4 films were actually like bigger studio films. The guy he started Troma with. Pixie, I know you're a Troma head. He worked on 3 or 4, and it basically just said that he just didn't like it, so he chose to go indie at a very early pace, which is what kind of Troma's credited for. Lloyd Kaufman's kind of guerrilla style open source kind of filmmaking, which is, they promote a lot of indie stuff. They work with a lot of indie shops, and then obviously Troma kind of spearheading that indie film movement at an early stage. But I was quite surprised to learn that he was a Yale graduate, given just the whole epic history of Toxic Avenger. So we could get into this if you guys. You're going to want to see this Slipknot anyway. You're going to want to watch as much Toxie. So anyway, there's 4 movies. Just for you, Pixie, earlier in this week, I watched Toxic Avenger 4, Citizen Toxie. That was the only one I hadn't seen. So now I've seen all 4 of the films. I'll have to go grab the Blu-ray for you guys, too, that Lloyd signed for me. I didn't have a chance to go grab it yet. So I watched Citizen Toxie, the Toxic Avenger 4, and that was just for you, Pixie. And now shall be doing, he was 98 pounds of solid nerd until he became the Toxic Avenger. 1984 synopsis. Tromaville has a monstrous new hero. The Toxic Avenger is born when meek mop boy Melvin falls into a vat of toxic waste. Now evildoers will have to lose. The genres are B action, body horror, dark comedy, splatter horror, superhero, action, comedy, horror, sci-fi. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. I mean, Gaz, you're a first timer. You're a canary in the coal mine. Yeah. So maybe I think we start off with you, because I think you probably had some interesting takes when these early plot. I think you had some feedback on the gym scene and maybe your introduction to Melvin.
Well, put us on this. Well, first thing, the minute I thought, what have I got to watch now?
You needed some empty space for your head for like the next 2 weeks to try to decompress what you just watched in the epic Toxic Avenger.
But like I said, to start with, I thought, yes, someone else is embracing the turds, because look, and I mean this in the nicest way. This is one of the worst films that's ever been made, but it's hilarious because it doesn't take itself seriously, like all the Troma movies. Yeah, they're intentionally bad. Yeah, if you are going into this film, folks, and you've never seen them before, like I hadn't, and you're expecting it to be like serious or some really high-end budget, whatever
sci-fi film.
Yeah, just eject your brain, sit there, laugh, invite some friends around. It's utterly hilarious. It's really eccentric humor, which I've got myself, so it's right up my alley in that regard. Yeah. And it's just completely ridiculous, but very entertaining. When I first saw Melvin, Ross, and he kind of looked like your typical nerd, I guess.
Yep. 80s nerd.
Certainly overselling it. The whole gym scene, whenever it went to Tromaville Fitness, I think it is, had me laughing just with the characters that you see on the left and the right. And that's something to point out with this film. There's always something going on in the background, usually just as ridiculous. So there's, no matter which direction you're looking, you're going to be laughing. I'm going to wait till I get to that scene that you're referring to in the gym, because that's a little bit later. What up, GSV? Thanks for coming through, man. But what I thought was funny as well is the first who you think is going to be the main villain. He's like this kind of gym head, but doesn't really look like a gym head actually. And he like is really kind of almost like he's think about someone would act if they've taken too many steroids, but he hasn't got the physique to go with it. And he's like really pumped up all of the time. So that was quite funny. So yeah, man. And you always in for an experience just with.
What do you mean? You mean Bozo, or you mean the dude with the bit like the head bandana that keeps smoking? He was smoking a butt in the gym, right?
No, yeah, no, the dude,
Slug, I think, and Bozo.
who's driving the car. You know, who uses his car to mow down innocent pedestrians.
Yeah, that's Bozo. Is
it Bozo? All right, sorry, yeah. That was hilarious. But yeah, dude, I just thought, what am I in for now?
Yeah, the villains are absolutely hilarious. And as Gaz said, that's very Troma, having these kind of crowded scenes with the people in the crowd doing stuff in the background. It's almost like Where's Waldo, with like random things going on in the background and the foreground and whatnot. Very, very Troma. Lloyd Kaufman directing. Quick follow-up question. Did you know what was going to happen to Melvin? Did you already read the synopsis,
I didn't know. I went in totally fresh because I didn't want to do that, because I thought then I'd get the whole movie. So I literally sat there, knew nothing about it. I hadn't seen it before. Of course, I remember you and Mac talking about it for years, going back and forth, saying like,
Mac are fanboys,
and I never got around to it.
I just wanted to shout out JSV said it's free on Tubi. I just want to let you guys know where you can watch it real quick. Prime Video, if you have it, free on Tubi. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. Freevee, Peacock. It's almost on everything I'm searching. So kind of a basic intro that kind of throw you right in, establish the villains with Bozo and Slug, and then obviously Melon is getting bullied for a good 20 minutes there. They ultimately set him up with the hot chicks. Bozo is obviously an obnoxious steroid head, like got the face he makes, and like when he just like makes those noises when he's screaming, like, I hate that Melvin. You're like, get away from him, Melvin, he's gonna kill you.
I'm so stressed all the time. I did like spoiler here, folks. There's a scene I think about halfway through where where Bozo stood with his buddy outside of their house, I think. Said, man, she gets me so stressed. And I was expecting like to see his girlfriend, one of the girls he was dating, dude. And you see that old lady getting out of the car. I mean, and I thought, and I'm not going to spoil what happens next, but at first I thought, right, is this going to be his nana or something? And then he's going to start, because the film had already been completely ridiculous by then. I thought, is he going to start shouting at something at his nana? And obviously we see something else happen entirely that I didn't expect.
Yeah. The grindhouse violence is like utterly insane. So early on there to like establish the bad guys, like Bozo and his friends are like basically these psychopaths, and they basically like, she's like, you're gonna get this many points for like driving over innocent pedestrians, and he's like, how many points for a kid on a bike? And like they actually like drive over this kid on a bike, and like the girls go and take like Polaroid pictures of him, like when his like head is splattered across the pavement. So it's just like right off the bat, you were pretty much as deep as you can go into a Grindhouse B movie universe. You know what I mean? That's even before you see Toxie, which I don't. So I wanted to ask a little more, like, had you seen any Toxic Crusaders? Did you obviously seen my Toxie action figure, so like you had some idea of what he looked like, other than not seeing him on camera?
I think may have played the game possibly, when we were kids.
Yeah, the demo. So you might have used Toxie because he uses his mop in the game.
Yeah. So other than that, I mean, I honestly, and Pixie's probably going to want to kill me. I don't think I've ever really seen any Troma movies apart from trailers and clips when I've showed you. Of course, I know who Lloyd Kaufman is. Gwen, who was back on the station I was at back in the day, she works for Troma, as far as I know. She still does, and she did, I think, the practical effects for them and stuff.
Hell yeah, which are actually quite good in this movie, given you know budget and the rest of the thing.
Yeah,
like
but I knew of them a little through the metal scene as well. I mean, there's a thrash band called Toxic Avenger. I don't know if there's a definite link, and then some of the gore and splatter death metal bands. I've always talked about Troma being an influence as well. So that was about as much as I knew, to be honest, man.
Yeah, they had a lot of metal on the soundtrack of Toxie 4. I was looking up what some of the bands were. So anyway, I guess I should have just watched my hard copy Pixie, but I betrayed you. I watched it on Prime or Peacock or some shit. So I think Lloyd wrote Toxie loves rock and roll Ross when he signed it for me at Comic-Con. And then obviously I bought the 4-pack, which is Toxic Avenger 2, 3, Citizen Toxie, Apocalypse Soon, the making of Citizen Toxie, which I should probably watch.
Was that Apocalypse Soon?
Yeah. It's what he called the documentary, like an opposite of Apocalypse Now. Yeah, of course, that's Lloyd, right? So that's the first Blu-ray there. Part 2. Whoops. Part 2. And
nice.
Part 3. And
that's sick, man.
There's Part 4. So I got the 4-pack, and Lloyd signed it to me. So you can't really beat my fanboyism, Pixie. So I'm just going to put that down for now. But yeah, you know, it kind of establishes early on where Melvin's up there in the gym, and they're just kind of bullying him. They, you know, just kind of some random scenes up until they set him up to one of the girls pretends that she's going to hook up with him or whatever.
Yeah.
So they set him up at the pool where he Apocalypse maybe at the pool where he works or whatever. And that is when they turn out the lights, and everyone's there. It's like a sheep. They dressed up as a girl that Melvin was about this. Everybody laughs in his face, and they kind of just like the crowd. They kind of just crowd him out the window. The infamous sequence of him swan diving face first out the window into a vat of toxic waste, where they earlier established that the truck drivers are like cocaine addicts, and they have massive like ounces of cocaine that they're like blowing in the front, and they're blowing it up in the truck cab to the point where their entire faces are cocaine encrusted, like beyond the point of Scarface. All the while, we see the effects of the toxic waste on Melvin, which first he kind of is like poisoned by the waste, and then eventually he lights on fire. First of all, that theme song, Gaz, with the bass, dun 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 dun. So he's running down the street on fire. He eventually runs home and goes in the tub, right?
Yeah, he runs home, goes in the tub. His mum wonders what's going on.
Yeah,
it is a nice use of those practical effects, though, where you see the transformation of him becoming the Toxic Avenger, where his arms start to develop, he starts to increase in muscle mass. I thought that was quite well done, actually, and kind of reminded me of those old school horror movies where you see him transition into a creature or something. So, that, you know, I mean, we're obviously going to mainly be focusing on all the humor, but that was a definite good use of practical effects. His mom is wondering what is going on. I always find things like that funny, where you've got like a family member, or it could be somebody walking by at random, like what's going on, and there's something crazy like that scene in Predator 2 with the old lady going up towards the door in the apartment, and the Predator's screaming. She's like, her husband or something's gone, I think someone's in the bathroom, and she goes, I don't think he gives, call the cops, I don't think he gives it. And of course the Predator bursts out of the room and runs down the corridor. It was that kind of ridiculousness, but hilarious. And then his mom kind of, what are you doing in the bathroom? She kind of walks up and like, he's become a man, basically.
Yeah. She's like, I think he's gone through puberty or something. Which is like, absolutely. Melvin, what are you doing in the bathroom? Yeah. And then obviously he gets all ripped, but obviously his face gets deformed from the toxic waste and transforms him into Avenger, the Toxie, the Toxic Avenger. I did miss one thing when the cops try to clear out the crowd when he's like toxic wasted on the ground because they're corrupt and they work for the corrupt mayor. He tries to touch Toxie or Melvin at that point, and his hands light on fire from the. That was pretty nuts, you know what I mean? So
yeah, that was pretty cool. And even the way he ran off and with the music that's playing as Toxie's, well, he's not quite Toxie yet, I'll say Melvin.
Yeah, but that theme song music, that's what I'm saying. The bass is so sick. Dun, dun. They play it like 50 times. But yeah, so ultimately, you know, like now we got Toxie. Ultimately, like, you know, Toxie's like weapon of choice, like is like the mop, obviously, because he used to be Melvin, working as a janitor at the pool and the gym. I know we skipped a lot of stuff, some of the gags and the jokes at the beginning. It's like 20, 30 minutes at least. Well, the overall film's like, what, about an hour and a half, maybe?
Yeah, but it is absolutely packed full, folks. There's so much going on in both the background. You could probably watch this multiple times and see things that you missed.
Definitely. Yeah. I've seen, it's probably like my second or third watch. Maybe I remember I watched like 1, 2, and 3 back in the day. And it actually been like a while since I watched one though. Yeah. Probably like at least a year, maybe 2 years or something. Yeah. So I was like, I was reminded of a lot of things I just totally forgot. So anyway, you can kind of see where it's going. Anyway, all these people have bullied Melvin at this point. Obviously the gangs are kind of out of control, the bully gang, and so you have like multiple factions of enemies, and then along with the mayor and all the corrupt kind of like he's got corrupt gangs that work for him. So I think Toxie's first fight, he comes across that street gang that is like
and the cop
beating up the cop, and what was the guy's name? Cigar Joe, something like that. It was Cigar Face. Yeah. So, just an absolutely hilarious beatdown scene of how we see Toxie pull up on this gang, kind of saves the cop. First of all, I think he's just speed bagging Cigar Face, right? He's just speed bag boxing Cigar Face, beats the absolute piss out of him, and then there's like the weird like trans man dressed as a woman with the dress that does the kung fu kicks. So there's quite a little kung fu characters that's doing the lipstick and just acting ridiculous. First of all, the grindhouse dialogue in this movie, you know, like the R word gets thrown around quite a bit. There's some N words that are dropped, unfortunately, and it's just like classic grindhouse. Oh,
there's no flow there.
No hold bars as far as like offensive dialogue and anti-woke content. Yeah. So. I remember he speed bags that guy. Then he throws one guy in the trash can. Then he speed bags him in the dick. And then he just picks up that one dude in the trash can, throws it. So then I forgot what he did to the kung fu trans. He beat her up too, I think. Yeah,
I think he just punches her or something. From what I remember, because he speed bags that guy, throws one in the trash. Yeah, I'll say the Drag Ninja, I guess, tries some. Yeah, he throws a few kicks, and I think Toxie just hits him down.
Yeah, maybe throws some kicks back, and then I know like, he does his like little signature call sign when Toxie, we'll say, finishes off an enemy, whether he kills him or just knocks them out, because Toxie just does whatever he wishes. There's not much consistency with the Toxic Avenger, but there is one consistent thing. He takes the mop, and he either smashes their face with it, or he just like puts the mop over their face like he mopped them up, and takes mops on everybody and leaves it on them after they die. He does establish that he's a good guy because the cop thinks he's going to kill him or something, and he gives him back his gun. Or he says like, I was just helping you.
Yeah, and a good point to note for people that have never seen these movies before, like I hadn't. So I wasn't expecting the sound of Toxie's voice when I heard it for the first time. So after he's beat these guys up, he checks on the cop, says, "Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you." But it's like this really clear kind of thespian acting voice. And I laughed my butt off, man. Yeah. I just couldn't stop laughing because it was such a contrast. I really wasn't expecting it. You know, I was sat there thinking, it'll be some kind of muffled, monstrous voice. And it's like this clear kind of stage actor's voice.
Hell yeah.
Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. Are you okay? and whenever he's not, you know, I guess whenever he's not beating up villains. Whenever he talks, I guess normally it's always in this kind of stage actor voice, and it gets me every time, man.
Hell yeah, no, it's absolutely hilarious. I mean, iconic superhero voice is just one of those things about Toxie that kind of differentiates him from other superheroes. And I barely put Toxie into that category. He's more of like a vigilante anti-hero, you know what I mean? But I guess he does certainly have some superhero characteristics like super strength and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll pull up plot. I can't remember. Ultimately he gets his girlfriend who is blind, so that's kind of the gag of her not really be able to see Toxie's face or whatever.
It's kind of a bit of, there's a little bit, I guess, of a revenge motive in there, folks, where he does get his own back against those who'd bullied him, but then of course being a vigilante and helping one clean up the town and pretty much go and destroy the villains. That's pretty much it. Yeah,
standard vigilante revenge, but just absolutely hilarious slapstick.
Oh, totally.
Way. So I got Wiki up. So Cigar Face escapes, or Toxie threw him away in that trash can or whatever. So he survived, even though maybe Toxie killed some of those other guys. So he promises to take revenge. Melvin returns home. Mom won't let him in the house. He makes a makeshift home in the local junkyard. And then we get to the Mexican restaurant fight, and absolutely awesome, dude. Absolutely hilarious fight. I'll let Gaz is the martial arts resident expert, so I'll let him get in his.
well, this whole scene is hilarious from start to finish. Just when the camera pans in on the chef who's got his hands down his pants, and then he brings out, it's like a bottle of sauce or something. Yeah. And then of course the gang comes in the restaurant. They're holding it up because they want the cash, and they're pointing the shotgun in everybody's face. Like I said, this definitely is, there's no filter. They even throw at a mom and her baby. But for those who are pretty much offended if someone breathes the wrong way, this is just extremely over exaggerated, eccentric humor. This is not to be taken seriously at all. It's literally sit there, eject your brain, laugh out loud. 100%. Of course, Toxie then appears. Just quick question, Ross, before we break down this further. That street fight that Toxie had his first fight, the first time we see him, he saves a gun. Is that the first time we see him use the mop on the guy's face?
Yeah, that's just good. I just read it wiki. It said so. Melvin kills the criminals and then leaves the mop on their face as a calling card. So that establishes his calling card, kind of letting everybody know that it's kind of obviously him, because Melvin was established with the mop earlier in the movie. Just real quick about, so the toxic universe, villains, they're like these over the top sci-fi baddies, you know what I mean? And they always have stupid face paint on. So these guys in the restaurant have this red and black, almost looking like the Legion of Doom, Hawk and what's his name?
Animal.
Animal, that kind of style face paint. And this one dude is he tries one innocent businessman tries to stand up to him, and he's like, why don't you guys just let everybody go and keep me for a hostage? And the guy with the shotgun is he looks at his boy, he's like, yeah, sounds good. And then he just shoots the guy right in the chest, sends him flying through a wall. And that kind of establishes what, these guys are, apocalypse chaos villains. But Toxie shows up pretty soon. And this Mexican taco restaurant is just an insane fight. Just insane.
It's the way that the whole thing pans out as well. There's a blind girl sat there. Man, there's a cringe scene, but it's because it's so over the top and so intensely bad.
Oh, it's insane.
There's a blind girl sat there in this restaurant who is Toxie's girlfriend, she becomes his girlfriend after this. It's kind of how we're introduced there.
Yeah.
And one of the gang, doesn't it? That's it. Her dog Does he off the dog after that guy stands up, or is it before?
Yeah, I think so. I was pissed about that because like the way they shot the dog. You know me, I always get pissed when animals die in
I
scenes,
know.
even though there's like about 1,000 people who get
What?
murdered. But we're gonna focus on the dog. He gets shot and he slides backward across the floor. So the way they shot it was like semi-realistic with the practical effect. That pissed me off. It was like a 1 second gag, like Gaz was saying, just but it flies across the screen.
I can relate to that because you know my thoughts on the Terrifier movies. Those movies, aside from them being insanely bad, they just get me so angry for reasons I'm not going to go into right now. But yeah, there's a guy who gets blown away who tries to stand up to Toxie. Of course, then this blind girl's dog is shot, and the way the camera is, this poor dog just slides back on the floor. But you can see it's kind of like a soft toy or something,
like a mechanical dog or something,
to look like a dog. The gang, I think they threaten the chef donor in the back, and they kind of cower in the corner, and then Toxie there's a first Pixie. I'm actually smiling for once, Anna. Yes, I can enjoy things.
You found it finally a movie that Gaz likes, which is both shitty and awesome at the same time, which is the perfect slapstick balance for Gaz.
Good move. I've got to go off topic once. Pixie, I sent Ross and Mac a message in the middle of the night. It was like 3:30 in the morning about another terrible movie, which we maybe could persuade Ross to cover one day. It's got an iconic scene with this purple reptilian man shouting at this band of wanderers, "What are you doing in my realms?" So bad. So yeah, I'm all about so bad but hilarious movies. Anyway, Toxie comes in the restaurant, confronts the gang. Some stupid, ridiculous, over-the-top fight scenes. There's one who's kind of the more martial arts guy, throws some roundhouse kicks, some spinning hook kicks, a couple of Mike Garys and side kicks, I think, if I remember correctly. Toxie manages to either duck, jump over them, pretty much uppercut this guy or punch him backwards. Absolutely hilarious. But I tell you what I enjoyed. Did you like it when Toxie got the other two guys in the back of the restaurant? And if you want to take it from there.
No, we can't do the kills yet. Right. So that fight with the Kung Fu guy is pretty long. Yeah. So for one, they're going back and forth in the dining area. You can clearly tell that they moved all the tables apart so they could have that circle to fight it. You know what I mean? Because what makes sense to have a Kung Fu fight in the middle of the Mexican restaurant? Yeah. So I thought he threw something at Toxie at one point. Was it a ninja star, or I thought he used like two Kung Fu weapons? I think he got.
Was one get? Doesn't one get the nunchuckers?
That okay, maybe it was the nunchaku. Yeah. So that I thought was a throwback to the nunchaku character in the beat 'em up game, or rather that was a homage to that scene. And then you could clearly see the samurai swords on the wall,
on the back, on the wall. Yeah.
And the whole time I'm watching those samurai swords, I'm like, yeah, okay, like a taco restaurant would have real samurai swords mounted on the walls. Like, what sense that makes? So obviously he goes down and gets one, and obviously it's it wouldn't be a replica in a family restaurant. It would be a real katana blade. Okay, so he unsheaths it. He has some like swings at Toxie. I think Toxie throws him face first over that wall, and there's just kind of like a hilarious gag with that guy just doing the stunt, just eating crap on like face first into the ground. And then he pulls out the sword. They had the nunchakus, and then they got the two guys out back, and that's when Toxie decides to make basically utilize the kitchen. I think that's what you're referring to, guys. So I think it's the one dude, the Kung Fu guy. He sticks his hands in the fry-later and he bends the metal over him. Yeah. So he fry-lates that guy and cooks him like a taco. And then, good.
Doesn't he get the other dude and put him like in that pizza oven?
Yeah, that dude, I think he ripped his arm off and then he beat him to death with his own arm. And then I don't know if he ripped his other arm off. I think before he put him in, he ripped both. Maybe he ripped maybe one or both arms off.
He definitely ripped one off for sure.
Yeah, I can't remember if he ripped them both off.
Yeah, but he definitely did one of them.
He crams him in the pizza oven, and then the last guy, he makes like a sundae out of him. Like he just jams like the powder and the whipped cream in his face and the chocolate sauce. And like he eventually puts mops on everybody's face after he kills them all. But when that scene of the police investigation, Gaz, when they're going through the murder scene, and they're all eating tacos, and they're like describing the bodies. He's like, I got one guy French fried over here, and like, yeah, well, that's okay, because I got like a banana split sundae over here.
It's such a contrast because the cops are all calm, as you say, they're all eating the tacos and food,
tacos,
and then you see the chef and like I've forgotten the posh name now.
Cashier
like,
guy or whatever.
Whatever. I was going to say like the understudy chef.
Yeah.
Anyway, my unprofessionalism, and they're like both like cowering wreck. The floor.
Yeah, they're both knocked out. So they both got knocked out in the fight, and then like one dude wakes up while Toxie is killing those other guys, and he sees what Toxie's doing, then he just passes out again. When
the cops like when they're eating the food, man, and those two are like in the corner, like in shock, and the cops are just,
yeah. It's like then later on, like and then the cops are never mind eating all these tacos, like with all these dead bodies around, like a totally unsanitary, you know what I mean. And like you'd be eating tacos on a murder scene doing forensics, you know what I mean? Absolutely hilarious.
Just how to contaminate the area.
Like talk about contaminating the crime scene.
CSI.
Eating tacos, so absolutely hilarious. So yeah, that was his girlfriend. They kill her guide dog and attempt to rape her, but are stopped by Melvin when he attacks them. Melvin takes Sarah back to her home where they get to know one another, become romantically involved. Toxie fights crime, including drug dealers and pimps for underage prostitutes. Oh yeah, that was weird when the dude tried to offer him like the little girl, and she was like, "You're gonna take me to a David Bowie concert." And like Toxie he lifted him up and he hung him, or he threw him over something. I forget.
Yeah, I think he did like a double choke, lift him up, and he's got him off the ground, and then I think he throws him.
He did like an Undertaker choke slam.
Is this possibly the first time? And I'm going to ask you, man, because they do this in the start of the second movie, and I haven't seen the others like you have. But do they follow this tradition of when like the villains stretch limo opens and there's just an endless line of guys getting out of a limo to attack Toxie? There was like about 10 or 15 dudes in the second one. Just
hell yeah. That's the thing. I mean, Toxie is nearly invincible super strength, so it doesn't matter how many of those baddies.
Got a football team in the back of the limo ready to depart.
You know it's going to happen. They're all going to get mopped up. You know what I mean? Let's see. Fights crime. He's celebrated as a hero. It kind of highlights Tromaville getting behind him. And it turns out the mayor is the leader of Tromaville's extensive crime ring and fears having the truth exposed. He wants Melvin gone. Later on, oh my God, this was absolutely hilarious when Cigar Face tries to get revenge on Toxie.
Oh, and they're all circling him.
Absolutely, it's a bit like that scene in Escape from L.A. when Snake Plissken has the cans, and he's like, when these cans hit the ground, draw, and all that. They have the what do you call that? God. What is the word for that in a Western where the dudes are like have a shootout,
Oh, when the standoff, they have the duel.
A standoff, yeah. So like a Mexican standoff. So in Escape from LA, Snake throws the cans in the air, and before the guys draw, he draws and shoots them all, and then the cans fall, and he's like, draw. It's kind of a similar concept to that. Cigar Face and the dudes, yes, dude, that's what I was looking for. Cigar Face and the dudes have Toxie surrounded, and they all have these guns. Like he has like a big pistol, and they all have these guns on him, and like right when they're about to shoot him, it's like you got Toxie getting ready. He just does a super jump, and they all shoot each other. Like hilarious. That was a good gag. I love that
as well.
Cigar Face was such an idiot. He leaps up the fire escape, so they shoot each other instead. He eventually gets his revenge. When he comes into so he comes back to the health club.
And
that is some amazing kills. Definitely some. So we haven't gone in on any of the big kills other than the Mexican restaurant ones, but the one dude weightlifting, I always remember that one where Toxie smashes his face with the weights like that. You freaking trash that guy. That was dope.
Yeah, and is that after that when he goes and hey Larry, welcome man. Is this the next kill? Is that when he goes and gets one of the girls,
Yeah.
who lead him? And yeah, so there's how I'm gonna put this nicely. There's there's a girl in a sauna near the pool, and she's reading a publication. No, or no, she's looking at. I think she's looking at pictures of the victims that Bozo had mowed down in his car, and that's how it turns these girls on in the film. And she's, how can I say, I'll put this in a martial arts context. She's engaged in DIY practical solo sparring in a way with herself, literally. And Toxie comes along. Yeah, I'm trying to keep it together. Yeah. We'll see how long that lasts. Toxie comes along, got this sheet over his head, and of course she thinks it's a boyfriend playing a prank on her.
Yeah, that's what the guy did earlier in the movie. Yeah. Like, how many times are you going to use that towel gag?
And of course it's Toxie, and he does it like sound like the whole. Picks her up and puts her on this kind of like those kind of hot stones or something.
Yeah, the sauna. It's like the direct sauna.
Yeah, and that's where he comes out with the line, will this get us demonetized if I say this or not? I can curse it.
Forgot what the line was. Give it a try. We've been okay with the monetized.
He picks her up and he puts her on these stones, and it's something like in his stage play acting voice again. How would you find this hot ass? Something like
that.
Yeah. And of course the Steve goes, and it's so ridiculous but hilarious. Well, that's another iconic moment. And then after that, is that when he goes and gets the other girl?
Yeah. So he attacks Wanda in the club's health sauna and burns her backside of the heater. He then returns to the club later, pursues Julie into the basement, and approaches her with scissors. The camera cuts away before anything is seen. So it sounds like you got Julie in there with the scissors.
Yeah, he does. And oh man, I'm trying to focus because I just saw Pixie's comment, and if I mute out and just fall off the chair, focus.
Classic.
Well, that's the beauty of this movie, though, doesn't it? It really does have you rolling on the floor, literally. Hilarious.
So he finally confronts Bozo and Slug after they beat a woman and steal her car. They attempt to run Melvin down, but he leaps onto the roof and throws Slug out of the moving car. Melvin then gets in and pulls off the steering wheel, causing Bozo to drive off the side of the cliff. His heart explodes, killing Bozo. Melvin climbs out uninjured and walks away. Yeah,
but that part where Melvin, aka Toxie, that part where they're in the car together, that's hilarious. And you've got at first, like, you've got Bozo, who's like all, jacked up, like, and then the fear starts to happen, and he realizes, okay, this guy is crazy. And Toxie, when he takes the steering wheel off and says,
Toxie's crazier than they are when they're completely unhinged villains. Like when he throws Slug out of the, first of all, when he jumps on top of the car, what up, Larry? When he jumps on top of the car, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, dude, this is great. Even filming that stunt was probably pretty difficult, like having Toxie on top of the car like that, and then obviously like flying around off the front of the car and stuff, the hood. And then when he throws out Slug, like, I thought Slug would get a lot more messed up than that, just because how brutal the kills are in this movie. But like, it actually looked like Slug was semi-okay given what Toxie was doing to most of these other characters. You know what I mean?
That's a really good point, man, because yes, it's hilarious, but if you look at the way they do use the practical effects and even some of the angles and the camera work, considering the budget they had, first opening scene in Tromaville Fitness introduces you to Melvin, everything that's going on, there's so much there. And the same with this, when Toxie's on top of the car, the way that's shot, and obviously when Toxie offers a steering wheel to Bozo, and then when they get to the edge of, I think it's like when they get to that side part of a road, I think it's like a big hill they drive off, and Toxie, like, Bozo's screaming in fear because he knows that's it, I'm done, and Toxie's like just, then the car goes over the It blows up.
I mean, even like I said, the practical effects. I mean, Toxie holding onto the roof while driving off the cliff. It looked like they really effed up that car. The car exploding, which was obviously CGI fire or whatever CGI was in '84. So I mean, quite a few cool practical sequences there. Given that you know, this is not a you know, $100 million budget. Clearly, yeah. When Melvin kills a seemingly innocent old woman in a dry cleaning store who was in fact a leader of an underground human trafficking ring, Belgudi calls the United States National Guard. Back in his junkyard home, Melvin is horrified at what he's become. He and Sarah move away to the city. And yeah, you know what? When he was in there in the dry cleaning place and he put the lady in the thing and killed her, like, I got obviously she was related to the crime ring, but I didn't really pick up that she was like one of the human traffickers. So that kind of slipped by me because I was like, I didn't really get, I knew she was part of the affiliated, but I didn't exactly get why he was killing her. But I got to say, I mean, Toxic Avenger, would you say way ahead of the curve in terms of some of these themes? Because like there was that movie Skin Trade we watched with Dolph Lundgren. That was like a kung fu vigilante movie against human trafficking. So like Gaz said, B-movie, sci-fi, slapstick, action, horror, comedy, yes. But as far as in terms of like underage prostitution, human trafficking, I mean, they actually tackled some very serious concepts here that, you know, I like the way they did it with Toxie being the vigilante as opposed to these forces of evil, you know?
It's way ahead of its time. I've just noticed I spelled my own name incorrectly. So, but I guess
Mish Shinobi is my new host. Let's
Shinobi.
go, Mish. New channel coming.
Yeah, PXMX fans. Anyway,
I guess you're saying 500K was the budget. Impressive. I didn't
nice
down in the production.
It's definitely way ahead of its time, and those serious themes are obviously hidden beneath the humor. I'll tell you what went through my mind, that scene in the laundry. When we were talking about all the Toxie films during the week, and you told me that the name of, is it Noxie, who's his arch nemesis?
Yeah, it's like his doppelganger.
At first, that's who I thought that guy was. I didn't think, oh, it's Toxie. I thought, right, is this the doppelganger that Ross is?
Good call. Yeah.
And is that how they're going to do it? They're going to frame Toxie, and then he's going to fight his doppelganger. So then, when we find out that the old lady's, you know, connected to the crime syndicate, that had me as well. I'm just thinking, when do we get that flashback, the next scene in the gym with the mayor laid out there? I'm waiting for that to comment on that scene, because that mentally scarred me a bit, like the dude who appeared in Lauren's Roadhouse.
Let's see. Back in this, he's horrified at what he's become. He and Sarah decide to move away into the nearby woods. Melvin and Sarah are eventually discovered, and the mayor and the National Guard to come kill him. You're talking about when all the National Guard is out? I'm not sure. I don't know. I forgot what scene you're talking about. I'm sorry.
The scene where it might be before he does the kills in the Tromaville Fitness now, and it's where the mayor's laid on like this massage table, and it's supposed to, and I found it so hilarious because it's supposed to be like this place of fitness and everything, and he's sprawled out and he's eating like a taco, this like massive greasy sandwich. He's laid there.
Oh yeah, this guy's disgusting. This guy's like 400 pounds. I might have missed that because I was on my phone for some of the movie looking at some stuff. Sorry, Pixie, I had some email stuff to do, so I may have missed that one. But this dude, the dude that plays this guy, is absolutely hilarious. This actor, the dude is absolutely massive. It looks like what is his name? Mayor Pat Ryan, Mayor Peter Belgudi. So obviously it's all it's all corruption. So it basically gets to the end of the fight scene when Toxie is surrounded by the National Guard, and Melvin's mom identifies him as her son. The mayor kind of gets exposed that, you know, he's involved in the crime ring, and Toxie has a line here before he dispatches of Mayor Belgudi here. he punches his fat stomach in and says, "Let's see if you've got any guts," and basically rips the blubber out of his stomach for the gag for the kill. So that's the gag on Mayor Belgoody, Toxie ripping the blubber out of his stomach. Another gory finish for the villain. And shout out to Larry. Looks like he did some music with Troma here. Doug Sackman, who did a lot of work for Troma. He passed away this summer, unfortunately. Rest in peace to Doug Sackman.
Just give a shout out. Just give a shout out to Larry. Yeah, that's really sad, man, to hear. Thanks for coming through, and I think I've heard of your band. If it's the one I'm thinking of, anyway, I better behave myself. I'll start going on random metal tangents of people we may have known, etc. The scene where the National Guard are surrounding him as well. I mean, it's like virtually calling the entire National Guard surrounding this one tent where there's Toxie and his girlfriend. Utterly hilarious. Because when Toxie comes out in the morning, and it looks like the mayor, and the mayor's trying to get the National Guard to blow this guy away, and then of course I think it's Toxie's mom says no, don't shoot or kill my Melvin. Some of the other townsfolk basically stand in front of him as a human shield. Let's not take this guy out, and that's where we come up to Toxie taking out the mayor. I liked even the way they closed this scene off as well, Ross, with the narration again, and the music on that. I thought that was well done. And like the way that camera panned out as well. That struck me.
I'll tell you what is the best shot of, obviously, like Toxie running away in the field with the sunset, and then that one with the power lines of him on the street where he looks one way. Like they showed it in the beginning. I think they showed it 3 times in the movie, and they end up reusing that shot. Like I don't know how far you got into part 2, but I think they use it in the intro. So that ends up being like the iconic Toxic Avenger shot where it's like someday when you look into a horizon, you may see him, and like he kind of spins around. And they end up using that, I think, in all 4 of the movies. It becomes like the kind of like intro shot.
Another thing I noticed, and they had this in, I think, about the first 15 minutes of Toxie 2, and I wondered, like you see the line of villains getting out of the limo. You see that in this one. I saw the same in Toxie 2 before. I think it's when we see the Michael J. White cameo. His girlfriend, she kind of like always moves with doing this kind of like weird dance, like this really weird kind of ballet with like her arms stuck out, and it's totally hilarious. Do they keep her doing that throughout all of the movies?
I believe so. Yeah, as far as I remember. Again, I haven't watched 2 and 3 in a long time, and then 4 was kind of my first one, seeing it in a minute before rewatching 1. I think we can. Do you have anything else on Final Climax, or do you want to go into ratings?
No, not really. I just again, folks, I do think, we're obviously talking about how hilarious it is, but again, I just want to stress, I do think the film, in terms of how they were shooting the different camera angles, is pretty good, actually. And the same with the practical effects and how they did some of the choreography and the stunt work, and more thought has gone into them than people may realize.
I agree. I mean, so it looks like Michael Hers and Lloyd Kaufman, I guess, kind of co-directed. I think they're kind of like the Troma creators. I love it. Great camera work, great use of music, and then the music is good in basically all the Toxie movies I've seen. The practical effects, and especially the kills, that's kind of Troma's thing. Super gory, grindhouse kills, heads exploding, people get organs falling out. Toxie ripping up. Toxie's big thing is punching through guys' chests and ripping their organs out. You see that happen multiple times. So definitely serious stuff. But I think we can get into ratings. I can go into mine. It's got a 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb, which is criminal. Pixie's at a 10 out of 10, so it's a PXF classic for her. It's a PXF classic for me. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Of course, I love Toxie. I think this is probably the best movie. Have you seen the Toxic Crusaders cartoon, Pixie? You didn't tell us. Where are you at, guys? You can feel free to drop your ratings in the chat. Where were you at, guys?
I'm at about probably an 8, I think, because it's totally hilarious. This is definitely going to be for people that either have got very eccentric humor like myself, or they can sit down and pretty much eject your brain and just absolutely laugh your butt off at this man. And just shout out again to Larry. I definitely know who your band are now. It's that one from the East Coast. I know who you guys are now. Anyway, go. Sorry, my brain's just, I'm metal nerding. 8 out of 10. Absolutely hilarious. Such a fun, entertaining movie. Which sadly the second one kind of only has that magic for the first 15 minutes. Yeah. But apparently the third and the fourth one, which you've just watched, are meant to be pretty good as well.
It's tough to recreate. This is Troma's biggest hit by far. You know? I mean, Troma doesn't have anything else I know of that got, mainstream TV animation cartoon for kids, action figures. I mean, Toxie really was hot on the merch before merch. Larry, shout out to Larry for coming through. His 2 movies that his band Cleric was on Troma now, Punk Rock Holocaust and 1 and 2. Sounds cool. We'll definitely check those out.
Nice.
Is there anything else you guys want for us? Do you guys want me to play the have you seen the beat 'em up trailer of Toxic Crusaders, Pixie? If you guys want to see that, I could play that for you. Other than that, I don't know if you're familiar with the Universal Pictures remake that essentially got canceled, Pixie. But if you guys care to, Gaz and I could we could react to that trailer as well. Toxic Crusaders retroware. Let's see. Right here. Game announcement. Is there still only one trailer?
I think there is. Last I saw, there was only one.
It's just the game announcement trailer, right? Only 60K is criminal for this.
I know.
All right, we'll do a little. All right, this is your day. This is your day, Pixie. So, okay, let me see what I can do here. PRS, the #1 most professional show in YouTube history. Share. Boom.
There we go.
Toxic Crusader, Toxic Crusader. I had no friends, no girls would hug me till I got radioactive ugly. Toxic Crusader.
There's our boy.
Yeah.
I listen to Dark as a red too low. Got a little bit blood and he loves me so. Toxic.
Junkyard Dog, No Zone. 4-player co-op, baby.
Nice.
Subscribe to my Twitch, twitch.tv/PlanetXGames. Me and Gaz will be on there streaming the whole game. I think I did stream the demo. The demo's out now. You can download it on Steam. But it's a little glitchy, a little buggy. Junkyard Dog.
Hey, I'm sitting on top of the world. With my two-end girl. Toxic Crusader.
Yeah, the Dr. Killomoff, such a stick villain.
You know what this reminds me of a bit? I'll wait till the trailer's done.
Come on, Crusaders! It's cleanup time!
We'll have to do either a playthrough for the guys on Twitch, or obviously of Toxic Crusaders, and do a show on it as well. But oh man, we only played it a while ago, and the second one's coming. That other comic book beat 'em up game, and the second one's dropping where you were like the mutants.
Mayhem Brawler?
That is it, yeah. Kind of has that look to it. Reminds me of that.
Hell yeah.
And TMT as well.
Yeah, hell yeah. TMT has an update with Mondo Gecko, I think is like the rare Gecko character, and then they added like whatever female reptilian was in there. I forgot her name. So yeah, we still haven't had an update on Toxic Crusaders from Retroware. I did go to PAX East in Boston, which is like the big video game convention, and I did play it at the Retroware thing, but it was still basically the same demo that I have downloaded on Steam. So I think we did stream some of it on my Twitch. Looks awesome. Gaz and I will definitely be on there streaming it on Twitch. One thing, like, I always thought like those like toxic, New World Order soldiers that they fight, that the Crusaders fight, and Dr. Killmoff were always way better villains than anyone Toxie's actually fought in the movies. That's why I was telling Gaz for like my theory, like if you made like a hard R grindhouse, like kind of like what the remake, the style of what the remake was supposed to look like, but like, like where's I think my Major Disaster actually. Here's Major Disaster. So Major Disaster, you know what I mean? Massive toxic assault rifle, utility backpack, obviously like a military kind of dude. Like he reminds me of like a Predator 1 character. Like imagine if they like, if I directed this movie, I'm just going to spitball real quick, guys. Imagine if I had like Jesse Ventura playing him, like as a homage to like his Predator character. That way you would kind of have like, I would direct it like Predator, the Crusaders are like basically a spec ops unit taking on Dr. Killmoff, super hard R, you know what I mean? Violent. Of course, Toxie's same attitude from the first 4 movies, grindhouse, slapstick dialogue and blah, blah, blah. But, I would really like to see the Crusaders fight Dr. Killmoff and his army in a hard R toxic posse movie because there's more villains. There's more villains in the Crusaders that are more like memorable villains, like all the guys that work for Killmoff.
I think that would work because my nerd imagination is already going crazy with you hearing that. Because if you think of how they could do, say, if they did Judge Dredd and the Dark Judges, Rogue Trooper, which I believe they were supposed to be doing and cancelled, and that guy is kind of like totally bred for war and continual war. If they did that like with Predator 1, definitely Jesse Ventura's character or nod to that. I mean, famous line, dug in there like in Alabama, you could have a bit of that, a bit of the humor thrown in, like you still get with the action movies as well. And that would be pretty sick, man, if they were this Spec Ops team, and that could be, present day. You could even take it into the future as well, in kind of, I know I'm going to sound cliche, but in literally a toxic wasteland. So who they're going to send? They're going to have to send those guys to take out whoever, say, if some dude is controlling everything there and then. So I would love to see something like that, man.
Yeah, if you had Major Disaster like grenading people and just not giving an, you know what I mean? I think it would. I think it would work. I don't know how far we are off from that happening, especially how the. So I don't know. Pixie, have you seen the remake trailer? If this is, let's get this up if it's still on. Yeah,
this is the one. Is this the now sadly cancelled 2023 film that had Peter Dinklage in? Who was going to be Winston Goose, a toxic Avenger, Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones, of course. Elijah Wood was going to be in this as well.
He's in it. I don't know if you heard about this, Pixie.
Kevin Bacon as well, man.
Yeah, dude. I think Kevin Bacon. I thought I heard he wrote part of it. I mean, now I heard Lloyd reacted to it, and he was like, "Yeah, it's not Troma." But I mean, I wouldn't expect Lloyd to think this is Usagi Yokimbo. Yeah, I think he's a character in Shredder's Revenge. He's dope. Yeah. So I don't know if you've seen this, Pixie. I know you're very anti-remake and very purist, but let's have a look.
There are still no leads as to the identity of
the freaky folk hero remains at large. Sir, what did you see last night?
I heard gunshots, saw blood. Handsome fella had his arm tore off like wet bread, and the creature run off into the night.
He looks like a fucked up hot dog.
That part was very shocking to me. Motherfucker.
Can we put that up? Anyone that may have encountered the strange.
Breaking news,
a group of armed extremists, the nasty
big men with guns
have
again.
taken hostages at a mismeat lunchatorium downtown.
Let's go live.
We are the Nasty Lads! We are angry!
Nasty lads.
Lunchtime terror.
They look like the guys in the Mexican place.
Yeah. Look, let's play it, man.
Look his jaw.
Nice.
What the hell is it? Who's a hero?
Peter Dinklage.
I've just had a thought as well.
That's
It's
what
okay,
I
amazing.
want to see who was in it before they canceled it on us. Keep missing it. Sorry. There. Peter Dinklage, Jacob Tremblay, Julia Davis, Elijah Wood, and Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
It had a vote. Avenger.
The Toxic Avenger.
That's what the kids are calling him. I think it's swell.
Can't believe they canceled that. Legendary Pictures.
I'd rather see that than many of those upcoming Fat Thing movies. And I just thought that thrash band who were called Toxic Avenger, I don't know this for certain. It just has me thinking. I wonder if someone had maybe got them down for the soundtrack. I don't know. I'm just absolutely guessing out loud and random. But you would think if they called Toxic Avenger, it'd be obvious. Hey guys, or if they hadn't reached out, do you want to be on the soundtrack? I would love that, man, because it's got the humor. Obviously, you know, it's effects now more updated as well, and it would be just something different to the constant conveyor belt of Fartful that just keeps spewing, man. And
I tell you, it's better than Megalopolis. It's better than The Crow 2024. It's better than Joker 2. I mean, so like the fact that what they said was like it was so bad that it was unreleasable, and I don't know. That's the last article I heard. If anybody has any more information, or if it is going to get released, that's what I was thinking, Pixie. I mean, I don't know about Peter Dinklage. I heard at one point Arnold Schwarzenegger was attached to play Toxie, which I thought made a lot of sense, but maybe they just didn't have the budget for him or whatever. Ended up with Peter Dinklage. But yeah, I think Elijah Wood was definitely a villain. They had some pictures of him, and it was supposedly it was so bad it was unreleasable. So I don't know why it got canceled. If anybody has any other updates or articles, feel free to weigh in the chat or in the comments. But there it is. That's Toxic Crusaders, the upcoming beat 'em up game from RetroWare. The unreleased Toxic Avenger 2023 remake trailer, which sounds like right now is having production hell or development hell, or maybe not. It's not coming out at all, canceled. And obviously Toxic Avenger 1, which started it all, the classic 1984. Keep dropping things. The classic 1984 film, but I think that's basically it for my end. Unless you guys have anything in the chat. Next week, Red Dawn for you, Pixie. So let us know if that time still works. Shout out to Lloyd Kaufman. Shout out from Lloyd. He of course signed my copy at Comic-Con. They did have some dope. I was thinking about getting it, guys. They have a 12-inch special edition Toxie action figure, only 75 made for Comic-Con last game, except it's it's glow in the dark, but it's $150. So I was thinking about copping it, but I think I spent like 40 on that Blu-ray. So 150 for I do want it, but I need to talk myself into it. You know what I mean?
I'm just thinking, is it a limited run? Have they only made so many?
Yeah, they've only made so many, 75. So it'll be.
There's one way, and I'm going to use this as an excuse for our overindulgent nerdom here. I like it. Think of it as an investment, because that would be worth something, man. It's only a limited run as well. Glows in the dark, so if you ever get frightened, you know, and you're scared at night and wake up, there he is. He's glowing and saying, "Oh, it's okay, Ross. I'm here. I'll keep you safe." So you've got that. Peace out, Larry. Thanks for dropping by, man. It was good to meet you. And,
thanks for coming through, man. Appreciate it. We'll definitely check out the films of your music. Always cool to have people that have contributed to the stuff that we're reviewing. Shout out to Slip. Appreciate you bringing Larry through. I figured you guys would want to. I figured we could go out on this note, Pixie. I was trying to pull it up to share it, but I for some reason can't log in right now. But this is from Comic-Con. Me and Lloyd at Comic-Con with the signed Blu-ray. So I was trying to share it for you guys. But that's not too much channel news. As we said, of course, the comic is always on Amazon. Merch is in the Teespring below. Check out my Patreon with the Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity's up. I have one more left, which is Deadly Prey. And then after that, if you guys want me to keep going on the Most Dangerous Game adaptations, we'll have to bring them into Paradigm Review Show, which I think the next two would be Hard Target. Obviously, Jean-Claude Van Damme, John Woo. That's an easy layup for me and Gaz to dual stream on Mosh Shinobi. And then Surviving the Game. Have you seen that, Gaz?
I haven't, no, but I will.
I think you would like that. That movie's crazy, dude. It's got like, I think, Gary Busey, Ice-T. It's a nice. It doesn't get much more grindhousey than that. I think you would like it. It's one of those like hunting people movies, which I know isn't your favorite thing, but the way it happens in that movie is like is absolutely crazy.
I did like that movie I've talked about before, that OG one from the 90s, where I think I'm sure Ice-T is in it, and it's got it's got the dude, he's in the Demolition One. I forgot the caller guy. He's like the leader of the rebels, and he has that kind of speech at the end. And all I remember is this guy, and I think and his friends wind up in this wrong part of the city on the night, and Ice-T, I think, is leader of the gang, and then they hunt these guys down. It's a pretty good movie. It had a decent soundtrack. I know me and you have talked about it many times, and now of course we're live. I forget what it's called.
That sounds sick. I don't actually remember, but apparently I've had
we used to man, it's not Judgment Night with the
no, I think it is Judgment Night. I think it is Judgment Night is Emilio Estevez.
Right, yeah, that's it. Yeah, Judgment
Night.
Yeah.
Sick soundtrack too.
Quick question of Fire Pixie. And this is quite hard to find a copy of, but it's on TV occasionally, and I know Mac likes the movie as well. Have you ever seen The Last Dragon with the Shogun of Harlem? Yeah. It's a ridiculous movie, but hilarious as well. And I just wondered if Pixie's seen that.
Sure enough!
Yeah, one we could maybe put on the classic list at one time. Oh, man, you've got it. Yeah, got to see that. Got to see that. The Last Dragon, look that up. Bruce Leroy.
There it is. Me and Lloyd. Yeah. So if you ever try to test my fanboyism, Pixie,
hey, there you go, man.
It's not Twitter. It's not Twitter.
Punish a shirt as well, man.
It's X.com. You got to get it right for Elon. I can't stand the guy, but we won't get into politics here. Anyway, me and Lloyd, shout out to Lloyd Kaufman. Oh yeah, final note. Lloyd's brother owns a bakery here in San Diego. Absolutely delicious. I finally went for reasons of this stream. It's called Bread and Sci, CIE. Place was packed on a Friday around noon rush hour, but like fresh breads. I had a slice of baguette. I had the best tea I've ever had in my life. If you guys like oolong tea, I know you're probably going to hate on me for this. I like drinking tea. Killer Priest likes drinking tea, so you can't say that it's that weak. But if you ever had oolong tea, I had an orange blossom oolong tea. Absolutely delicious. And then I had avocado egg toast. But yeah, shout out to I know Lloyd's brother worked on some of the earlier Troma films with him, and then I think backed out. So whatever reason, he has a bakery in University on University in San Diego, Hillcrest, called Bread and Sci. I highly recommend it. I'm going to definitely hook them up some reviews. I know that's random Troma knowledge, but the place was absolutely delicious. I've known about it for years and been like, I have to go here just because Lloyd's brother owns it. Like I have to go, and it was fire. So there you go. A Yale graduate and a dude that owns an absolutely sick bakery type of patisserie. Told me that Lloyd might be on the channel stream tomorrow. Channel's called the Sci-Fi Center. I'm down. The other thing that we've been watching are The Thing Expanded. You guys have heard me talk about that Thing documentary. They've been doing ThingCast streams talking about their project and, interviews with people from The Thing and whatnot. So I think that's everything for me and Mosh. We'll have some prizes and stuff coming up soon. Red Dawn next weekend, then Gladiator 1. We're going to let Mosh report back to us on Gladiator 2 if he survives the screening. And then we're going to do Horizon. Then after that, we have some special surprises for December. More, we got Kurosawa making the debut on the channel. I've been talking about that for like 3 years. And some more vigilante film related to the Zodiac case. Once I say that, you should know exactly which film, but we're going to keep it under wraps till it gets closer to the middle of next month.
Some of the most legendary dialogue ever. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah, big time. And try to get the boys' final season review for end of the year. If we get that in, then we'll finish with Nosferatu, because I think we're all pumped for Nosferatu.
Do just want to send a quick shout out to Tony Todd and his family. Sadly, Tony Todd passed away. Legendary actor, very underrated in my opinion. Obviously, Candyman. had a classic part in Jason X as well. So many movies, such an iconic voice, very humble man from what I've read as well. And that sucks. So peace and respect to him. Thanks to everybody for coming through. It's good to see you as always. What up to Larry, and you're welcome anytime, man. And thanks for the recommend. Slip, shout out to Slip, of course. Fire Pixie and Mr. Sorry if I haven't got your name correctly. I am scrolling super fast. Is it Mr. JSV? Whenever I see a name, I always think Jean-Claude Van Damme for some reason. Like, hey man, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah. Don't ask. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming through, and had a lot of fun today. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's an absolute classic. You definitely got to see this, Slip, and everybody. If you haven't seen Toxic Avenger 1, definitely check it out. We gave you the upcoming beat 'em up game from Retroware. You can get the demo on Steam. And once it drops, we obviously tune in with us, tap into twitch.tv/PlanetXGames. That's where I'll be streaming my beat 'em ups. We gave you the trailer for the deleted movie. If anyone gets any update on that, feel free to leave us a comment. Click the join button to get a membership to PXF. Obviously, like, sub, share. And next week we'll be back with Red Dawn. Not too many updates till then. We're just kind of sticking to the script. But you can also join my Patreon for free. You don't need to be a paid subscriber. There's 2 tiers on the Patreon. You could just be a free member and see what I've been posting. However, going into 2025, I'll probably have some paid member posts only on there. Involving Zodiac and Zodiac related movies to keep my current theme going. So shout out everybody who came through. That's for you, Fire Pixie. Hope you enjoyed your Toxic Avenger review. And next week we'll be back with the Red Dawn. Hell yeah, that was for you. Oop, I was trying to get that up there. That was for you, Pixie. So hope you enjoyed it. But Toxic Avenger 1984, absolute classic. Lloyd Kaufman, Troma, can't go wrong. Maybe got a good reaction here, so maybe we'll revisit some Troma stuff down the line.
Definitely, man.
As always, if you have recommendations, like this one was from Fire Pixie, throw it in the live chat or throw it in the comments. Shout out to everybody who came through. Slipknot, Larry, Mr. JSV, Pixie, everybody who came through. Good stuff. So, if you need me, you can always want to go back and forth with me. We can go back and forth on X or hit me on Patreon or here on the tube. They'll do it. So, thank you, guys. Appreciate the show.
Guys. Thanks for coming through.
Like, sub, share. Classic show. We'll be back next week with Red Dawn, PG-13, Charlie Sheen. And was that Swayze? So it should be another epic. So that's it. Toxic Avenger Paradigm Review Show. Like, sub, share.
All right. Peace, y'all.
We're out. Oh, subscribe to Mosh Shinobi as well. He'll be getting some more of the as far as like the Killers game. What was it called? The Killers
game. Are you thinking Twilight of the Warriors, the other one?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of kung fu martial arts stuff, guys. We just haven't got to it yet. But if anything falls through or we rearrange alternates to the schedule, we'll get it done. So don't worry about Mosh Shinobi and like I said, probably mostly Kurosawa in the meantime. But we will have the the martial arts stuff and the MMA, Vigilante, all that stuff. John Jones at Stipe next weekend, Pixie. So watch out. UFC 309 going to be a classic. And we know that Tyson is going to absolutely sleep Paul on the 15th. So that's one win that I need the way this November's gone. We're out. Paradigm Review Show.